Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to journey to a land where magic is as real as moonlight, and where courage, well, it can give wings to the impossible. This is the epic of the Great Crescent. Our story begins, as all the best fairy tales do, once upon a time, long, long ago. A time when the blue of the sky wasn't just a color, but a promise. A time when you could feel the hope of the earth in every single blade of grass. In that age, if you listened carefully enough, you could hear the tales whispered by the stars in the silence of the night. And so, our tale begins in a time of deep peace, in an empire bathed in the soft, magical glow of the Great Crescent. Right in the heart of the magnificent Great Crescent Empire lived Sultan Ahmet. His justice was like a river that nourished the lands, and it earned him the respect of absolutely everyone. But the true light of his life, the one jewel that was more brilliant than any treasure in his kingdom, was his daughter, Princess Mihrimah. You see, the day Mihrimah was born, something miraculous happened. A light, purer than any dawn, filled the palace courtyard. They say the sun itself paused in the sky, bowing in reverence to a brilliance greater than its own. Her beauty wasn't just in her sky-blue eyes or her moonlight-spun hair. It was a warmth, a goodness that could melt even the hardest of hearts. And watching from the courtyard that day was an elephant named Zeytin. As he lifted his enormous head toward this divine light, he felt something strange and wonderful stir inside him. It was a moment that would change the course of his life forever. And this is where the real magic began. First, just a slight tremor in his ears. Then that tremor grew, building like a powerful weave of energy, until his ears unfurled into a magnificent pair of wings. And with one mighty flap, he lifted his massive weight from the earth and into the sky. As the people gasped in wonder, the Sultan just smiled. He understood. This wasn't just magic. It was a reflection of his daughter's pure heart. Zeytin's flight was the blessing of Mihrimah made visible. And from that day on, Zeytin became the silent, loyal guardian of the skies. But even the brightest light casts a shadow. And right in the heart of the palace, a darkness was beginning to stir. Sultan Ahmet had a brother, Kostok, and where Ahmet's heart was a spring of justice, Kostok's was a barren mountain, filled with a soot of jealousy. Every single night his ambition would course through his veins like a poison, whispering to him of the throne he was so sure he deserved. Then one day, trusting in the peace of his kingdom, the Sultan set out on a diplomatic journey. He left with a peaceful heart, never knowing that his absence was the very opportunity the darkness had been waiting for. But the palace was not undefended. Standing watch as its shield was Janissary Hakan. His armor was as black as a moonless night, but his heart shone with the light of 1,000 suns. His loyalty wasn't just a duty, it was the very essence of his soul. The moment the Sultan's caravan was out of sight, Kostok summoned his shadowy allies. His words, poisoned by years of resentment, sealed his treacherous plan. His time, he believed, had finally come. When the traitors stormed the gates, Janissary Hakan stood against them, a single mountain against a raging sea. His sword was drawn, his will unbreakable. The shadow of treason, he vowed, will not enter this palace. And it's here, with the palace on the brink of falling, that the story turns. Because when all hope on earth is lost, sometimes the only thing you can do is look to the sky. From her window, Mihrimah watched the desperate battle below. She knew Hakan's courage was limitless, but the number of traitors was not. In a flash of inspiration born of love and desperation, she ran to the one being who could help. "Take us to my father, Zeytin," she cried out. "Their numbers are endless." Zeytin bowed his mighty head, and Mihrimah climbed onto his back. With a thunderous clap of his wings, they launched into the heavens, a single point of light against the coming storm, carrying the fate of the empire on their shoulders. Far away, across the desert plains, the Sultan looked up. He saw a familiar silhouette against the dark clouds. No words were needed. His heart knew. "We're turning back," he commanded, his voice sharp with urgency. "Now." And so, the stage was set for the Great Reckoning. The fate of the Great Crescent would be decided in the courtyard of the palace. The Sultan charged into a scene of fire and steel. He saw the weary but proud Hakan still holding the line.
And then he saw him, his brother, Kostok, striding through the chaos with a triumphant, crazed smile, just steps away from the throne.
Just as Kostok's hand touched the door to the throne room, a voice boomed like thunder off the stones. Kostok. The traitor turned, the taste of victory turning to ash in his mouth. The Sultan stood before him, not as a king, but as a judge. To be worthy of the throne, he said, his voice calm but powerful, one must first be worthy in the heart. And you, brother, have chosen darkness.
Trapped, Kostok turned to flee, but the sky above him darkened. Zeytin descended with the force of a falling mountain, blocking his escape. In that same instant, Hakan's sword flashed, and the long shadow of treason was finally vanquished.
As the dust settled, a new dawn broke over the Great Crescent. The palace was safe, but something more important had been won, a deeper understanding.
And what was that understanding? Well, they had learned that true power isn't found in a crown, but in goodness, and that real courage isn't the sword you hold in your hand, but the one you carry in your heart.
And so our legend ends here. But they say that on the clearest of nights, if you look up at the crescent moon, you can still see the shadow of enormous wings passing by. A timeless reminder that the greatest magic of all is the light we carry inside of us.